Hello and welcome back to Rue's Life. So I'm here in the Polytunnel. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. We've had another light sprinkling of snow, but what's been happening over the last few days is we've had a little dusting of snow and then the sun's come up and it's been really quite lovely and warm and the snow's just melted away. So for those of you that don't know, I'm in North Wales in the UK and that's pretty much normal weather for this time of the year, and our sort of last frost date is usually up to the end of April. So everything in the polytunnel's coming along really well. I've got lots of seedlings going, I've still got a few things to germinate, and I've got a few plants coming on really nicely. The same outside, I'm really happy with how things are coming along. I'm really glad I took the time to rest my outside beds over winter and really prep them ready for the season ahead. I do try very much to be ahead of the game, so I always have a really good clear and tidy out of the polytunnel, and I weed all the beds and try and prep them so that when the growing season starts I'm ready to go. The horses are looking really good. They're starting to shed their winter coats now. I didn't clip them this year because I wasn't really going anywhere and I was only pootling about at home, so there's loads of hair coming away now when I groom them. I'm also taking their rugs off during the daytime so they can have a good old roll and a scritch, and that also helps to pull that coat out. And of course one of the benefits is that all that hair that's floating around, the birds will come and pick that up and they'll use it to line their nests. I have been doing a bit of riding with Garth. He's really coming along nicely, and I'm really hoping that this year we might get out to some competitions again because I've really missed that. The chickens are really loving free ranging again after having been kept locked down from December until the end of March because of the avian flu restrictions. The one that had the injury to her wing, she's doing fine, and we are getting an average of about 8 eggs a day at the moment, which from a flock of 11, and some of them are older girls, that's really good and I'm really happy with that. So that tells me that they are really happy. The sheep are doing a fantastic job of mowing down the menage field and really chomping that grass down. Sheep are fantastic lawn mowers. Where horses eat, they will often sort of trample over quite good grazing to get to what they think is better, and they also don't tend to eat the grass around areas where they've done their droppings or where they've urinated, whereas the sheep will just kind of methodically graze it down, and they'll graze it much closer as well, so that they do a really good job. I will be getting the sit-on mower out again soon to start mowing the actual grass menage area where I ride the horses, just to really keep that short crop. The lawn in the garden has had one cut already, and those spring flowering bulbs around the oak tree that I planted in the autumn, they're all starting to come up and they look really pretty. And the houndies are doing absolutely brilliantly. Kay is doing really well on her new medication. For any of you that don't know, she has a heart condition and she has to have quite regular checkups with the cardiology department at one of our local animal hospitals. They do a really good job of looking after her, but she's doing brilliantly at the moment, so that's great. Easter was absolutely lovely. We had glorious sunshine. On the Saturday we actually went to visit my sister. She lives about an hour away. She also has chickens and she loves growing, and she very generously had put together some plants for me. So she's given me some quite well established rhubarb, so I'll have some more rhubarb on the go. She's given me some raspberry canes, some banana shallots, which I hadn't grown before but I've seen other people do and I've always thought about it but just never got round to doing it. So I've now popped those into the bed with the leek, onion and garlic. And she also had a big tangle of strawberry plants that actually were destined to go on her compost heap. She'd sorted through her plants and taken what she wanted, and as I say, they were destined to go on the compost heap, so she bunged them into a carrier bag for me, and I've gone through them all and I've split them up, taken all the dead leaves away, and I've actually potted them for now, and I've managed to make 8 strawberry plants, so that's great because I was actually going to have to buy some strawberry plants this year, so I won't have to do that now, so that was brilliant. And once my seedlings are more established, I'm going to get them to come have a visit over here, and then I'll be able to give her a few of the plants that I'm growing that perhaps she hasn't got. so some of the different tomato varieties and so on. And on Easter Sunday we had a lovely day. We were both at home, the sun was shining, I got everything together for a roast lunch, popped it in the oven, and then we took the dogs for a lovely walk at our local mere. It was a glorious day, there were lots of people out, everybody was very respectful of keeping their distance, but it was just great to be, wishing everybody a happy Easter and saying good morning to them. And there were daffodils everywhere. And then we came home, the dogs had a good old sleep because they were tired after their walk, and we sat down and had a delicious roast dinner. For those of you that follow me, you will know that I have some chronic health conditions, and I've really been struggling of late. My chronic migraine have just completely taken a hold, and I've had to have quite substantial amounts of time away from work. I'll be honest and say that living here on the farm has really saved me, and actually one of the things that I've been able to keep constant in my life is making these videos, and your engagement and people subscribing and viewing and clicking like, that's really helped me through, so thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. I've found it very difficult to keep anything constant. As I say, I've had massive chunks away from work. I go back for a little bit of time and then I have to have some time off, and I keep getting signed off for quite substantial blocks of time, up to 4 weeks. I often don't have enough energy reserves to actually be able to ride, because it's not just getting on a horse and riding, which in itself takes a lot of energy, but it's everything that goes either side of that. So bringing them in, getting them groomed, changing rugs, tacking up. There's a lot more either side of the actual ride, and I just haven't had the energy stores. But what I have found I've been able to keep constant is uploading my YouTube content, and that's really helped me. I also find it quite motivating to get a job finished, so where perhaps I don't have a huge amount of energy and I might start a little project, I find because I'm filming I've got more incentive to get it finished, and I'll sort of push through, if you like, to get that done. And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who are living with chronic conditions, and it really is quite exhausting. And if you don't suffer from chronic conditions, it's quite hard to understand just how debilitating it can be. And when you see people out and about and doing things, it's hard sometimes to understand. I've suffered with chronic migraine for over 40 years, but the last 6 years have been particularly worse. And the last 2 years, they have pretty much come every single day. So I'm in a constant state of pre-migraine, or the migraine state with the headache, or post-drone, which is kind of like a migraine hangover. My GPs have pretty much exhausted every preventative medication that there is. I think I'm on to the 10th one at the moment, and that isn't working. I do need to increase the dose. They all come with some pretty unpleasant side effects. I am under the neurology department, and they are looking into other treatments, and there are a few avenues that we can explore, so I'm really hoping that we can find something that's going to give me some respite. And then what else? Books I've been reading. If you haven't already got a copy of Liz Zorab's Grounded, I can highly recommend it. It's such a page turner. I'm really enjoying it, and it's a really inspirational book. I'm sure many of you already follow Liz's channel, but I can highly recommend the book. So if you haven't got a copy, do go out and get yourself one. And I'm also reading at the moment a fiction which is called The Life and Soul of the Party by Mike Gale, and I really like Mike Gale's books. They're really easy to read. I do not often read more than one book at a time. I know lots of people do, but I can't generally do that. The only times that I find I can is if one is fiction and one is non-fiction. So I'm finding that reading Liz's factual book alongside a fiction, I can pretty much do that. But if it's 2 fiction books, I just can't handle it. So I'm hoping that those of you that have been following me for some time will have noticed that I have started to put out much more regular content. So my plan, and I've been managing to stick to it, is that I pop a video out on a Wednesday and a Sunday, and I'm trying to keep that to a regular thing, and then if I do any other filming in between, then I can pop those in. Those of you that have come over to my channel to watch the gardening you may not realise that one of the reasons that my channel is actually called Rue's Life is because I always intended this channel to have other content about me and my life here on the farm, and not just my growing and gardening. So if you have come across from one of the other channels, and thank you if you have, and you have just come for the growing and gardening, I hope I make it clear from the titles of each video so you can just skip those ones that you don't want to watch. The majority of content in my videos is about the growing and gardening, but I do pop in other videos about lifestyle, about the horses, the sheep, the chickens, the dogs, sometimes some baking or cooking, and also health and well-being. So if they're not for you, just skip over those. I also do have, if you go and look in my playlists, I've got everything grouped, so it's really easy to pick out the content that you want to watch. So it was March in 2019 when I made my first YouTube video, which was actually the hugelkultur bed, which is the bed that you can't see. It's the one I've been balancing my cup of coffee on. And if you're interested in that, I'll pop a link up above so you can watch that. And to those of you that have supported me right back from that first video and stayed with me, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm a slow growing channel, but I really enjoy making the content, and I really do appreciate the engagement that I get from you guys, those of you that watch my videos, that click like, that have subscribed to me, and especially to those of you that engage in the comments. I really, really do appreciate it. And it is the one thing that I've managed to keep constant in my life, especially over the last 12 months or so, while my health hasn't been so good. As I say, I've been having to take time off work. I haven't always been able to ride the horses. With the pandemic, we've all been in the same situation where other things in our lives we haven't been able to do. But the one constant that I have had is putting out my content and, engaging with you guys. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you. So I hope you're all well, and I hope you're all enjoying life. Any of you that do suffer with any chronic health conditions, I really hope that you're getting the treatment and the support that you need. So my plan with my channel going forward is that I'm going to continue to put out lots of content. I am going to try and do some sort of regular slots, so this Ponderings from the Polytunnel I will try and do once a month, a plot and Polytunnel tour once a month, a farm tour once a month, probably a riding or horsey type video once every couple of months. Seeds that I'm going to be sowing, and sowing those seeds once a month. Now obviously there are going to be some months where I won't be sowing anything or things will change, but I am going to try and put out some regular content like that. So if there's anything that you don't like, drop a comment below, or that if you would like to see more of, drop a comment below. But as I say, for those of you that have stuck with me from the beginning, or to those of you that are new to my channel, thank you ever so much. I really do appreciate it. If you are new to my channel, please do consider subscribing and hit that bell to get notifications of all my latest videos. I do have a little look at my analytics every now and then, and there are a surprising number of people that are watching my videos that don't actually subscribe. So if you're watching regularly and you do like my content, please do consider hitting that subscribe button, because it really helps my channel. I'm growing slowly, but I'm getting there. So I'm going to just sit here now with my coffee. Sometimes I do find that just coming and sitting out here, even if I don't plan to do anything, I pop the radio on with a cuppa and just enjoy being here in the Polytunnel, or if it's warm, sitting outside and just soaking it all up. Thank you ever so much. Take care, and I'll see you all again soon.